Good morning, welcome to Snow Talk. Brian Good here. Before we get to cold weather, quick look at the stats. Nothing has really changed. Still running behind. Should have 2.2 on the ground instead, or 2.2 in the books. We only have 0.2 in the books. It's cold outside. I know, but it's one of those days where it's just hard to stay warm even inside. Like my hands have been frozen all day, and other than have a heater, which I can't have in here, it's just like can't get them warm. It's one of those days today. I feel like you have no blood or something. Anyway, it's cold. 9 now. 0 at Salem and Seymour. Below 0 wind chills continue. 4 below in Louisville, 10 below into Seymour. You know, we were waiting for the clouds to clear. When that happened, we knew we were going to see a steady drop to balance things out. And the question is, when will we clear? Because that would determine how cold we'll get. Will we cleared? Roughly by the time I got in this morning, and when that happened, we dropped. And then we dropped big time. Several degrees in some cases between 1 o'clock hour and sunrise, all the way down to 8 above. This morning. That puts us coldest morning in nearly 2 years since our 7 on the 18th of January 2016. There's a chance we may have hit that 7 this morning, by the way. We'll get official word here shortly, but either way, we hit 8, so it's certainly the coldest since then. It's not cold. It's a situation where it hasn't been, it's this rare cold where it doesn't get this cold very often. It actually does get fairly cold like this at least once every season. It's just always tough to get used to. And the thing is, we're going to have several chances to get to this level between now and when we try to get out of this pattern mid to late January. But between now and then, we're stuck here, gang. Kind of cool look at the satellite image. In fact, let me turn off one of the layers so you can see the visible satellite. You can see right there is the edge of the snow back on the ground in Indiana. So snow to our north there. And it's even wild to see it on the satellite image in general without much daylight, because you can see where the rivers and lakes are all over the place in the Midwest where the snow is in the ground, because the water is so much warmer than the snowpack and the cold, frigid air around it that you see all these little dark patches everywhere, and that is the rivers and lakes. It's pretty wild to see. Cold air is certainly impacting those to the south. There's a lot of dry air, but it is changing some of it over to some sleet and snow. Not enough to cause any travel issues for the deep south. Our issue is, though, we're going to have a lot of energy coming in from the northwest over the next several days. It's going to be one streak after another, especially as we get into Thursday night into really the weekend. And some of these will aim more north across, say, Cincinnati area. Some will even a little more toward Evansville. I mean, there's just going to be a constant flow of energy. Not excessive amounts to where it makes it a challenge to pinpoint each one of them, but enough around that we've got to keep just a general snow chance in the forecast all the way through the weekend. Because we're still dealing with very cold air, and you're dealing with a bit of energy, and it'll try its best to squeeze out some moisture through the air. There's not a lot to work with really the next several days because of the flow. It's not a south flow, so there's not a lot to work with, but it will try, and therefore we can get some light snow accumulations in this kind of a deal. When you look at Futurecast, here we go with the trends. You can see how today we're going to be dealing with upper teens to around 20 degrees. Normal high is like 43. Now, you'll start to see on Thursday night, some of those streaks begin to pop in, and we'll see more of that continue as we get into Friday night, little streaks of snowfall. This is one of those things we really can't look at the model as far as what it says is going to be falling precipitation-wise, because that is going to vary each and every run because of the atmosphere, the way it's stacked up, especially the dry layers and the lower layers of the atmosphere. So the best way to look at it really is the energy you got in the atmosphere to produce any type of snow shower activity. When you head into Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, we do have some lift going on in the atmosphere in our area, so I've got a snow chance in for that. As we get into Friday afternoon into Friday night, quite a bit of lift going on in the region. Enough, it's not excessive, but enough lift going on that it's going to generate some cloud cover and, in some cases, some snow showers and maybe a light accumulating snow in the region. Now, Saturday, the thing is, that system for Saturday night into really the holiday weekend is trending more south and west, kind of around us. And sure enough, the NAM's kind of trending that way with the best energy kind of rounding us there. So we have still some pockets of it here locally, but it looks to be our south. In fact, when you look at the snow ratios, that's another thing, too. When you deal with cold Arctic air, you can get more bang for your buck, basically. We increase the amount of snow you can get with a little bit of moisture related to a very warm, humid setup. So when you look at the snow ratios, you read this right to left, backwards on the sounding. Snow ratios right now, today, roughly 25 to 1. So if we had moisture flying into the air, we'd be doing pretty good. But they do decrease, but still pretty good. I mean, 10 to 15 to 1 ratios when we have some moisture around, produce some snowfall, but it still shows nothing falling. It keeps us mainly dry on this particular sounding. However, if you go up the road to, say, Madison, Indiana, In Madison, you do have some moisture around. It's not a lot of moisture, but ratios are enough for you guys for Friday night into Saturday that you can get about an inch of snow out of that. And that's not that far from Louisville, so that's why we got to keep the chance within the range here, within the region, to get some snow showers and accumulating snow at that, starting mainly to north and east of us tomorrow night, but I think it's going to be more of a Friday night and Saturday. That's where our highest snow chances are going to be for that period. Then, as far as the New Year's system, yesterday we were talking about it. It's still going to get sampled. It's not sampled yet. It won't get sampled really until Friday. However, looking at the ensembles, we have fewer ensembles from the GFS, especially that are not on board for a southern system. In fact, very few are. When you look at the ensemble here, well, first off, let me back up a second. This is the ensemble for the streak of snow Friday night and Saturday. And you see that it's on nearly every one of it, but not every one brings it down into Louisville, but they do bring it down at least to the southern Indiana-Cincinnati corridor. I just wanted to show that. I forgot I had that in there. Now let's talk about the weekend New Year's system. And very few. This is a weak look to it. This one's a little more robust. This one certainly is. Weak into the south. Looks weak south. That one's not bad. That one's not bad. So roughly out of the 20 different ensembles we've got here, you're only getting roughly about 6 maybe that have something showing up. And that was we had more than that yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. So the trend is going toward a more suppressed system and a drier setup for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and it matches with the Euro and the Canadian are trending toward. Now, is that set in stone? No. Until I see it get sampled on Friday, nothing's going to be locked in here, guys. But we have no choice but to go with what we got on data, and the ensemble data is trending in a drier fashion, so we're just going to keep it on the low chance in for now until we get a better idea of how this will go. So just stay close to the forecast, and we'll let you know if something significant were to change. Here's what's interesting, though. When you look at the indices, the Euro especially is really just taking a 180 here since yesterday, going really far negative on the EPO, which is going to allow for a colder setup as we move toward the first 10 days of January. It was trying to warm us up. Now it's trying to, I wouldn't want to say warm us up, it's trying to show a pattern flip. The latest runs are not doing that. GFS is already on board with that idea. PNA, either neutral or positive. NAL trying to go negative, and the Arctic Oscillation trying to go negative. So there's still some cold signals showing up as we head toward mid-January. So when are we going to get out of this? When are we going to warm up? Right now we're thinking mid-January around the 15th, but it may take until a little bit after that, which means we still have more snow chances to get through potentially, and a lot of cold air still to get through. So winter is here, guys, and it's not in a hurry to leave anytime soon.